Yo, what's going down, Kingdom people? Welcome back to another episode of Living in Victory, day 22. Bro, to be honest, I didn't think I was going to be able to do a video today because, man, I'm running on very little sleep. I have a very busy week. But instead of taking a nap, I just felt so strongly. I don't know, sometimes you guys, it doesn't make any sense. But the Lord just said, just spend some time with me. And as I did, I began to feel so refreshed and so energized. And this word just began to pour out of my heart. And it was really for me, but I'm deciding to share with you guys because a gift is not a gift until it's shared. So guys, the gift that I was given and the word that the Lord spoke over my life, I want to share with you guys today. And it is called, I'm titling it, What Are You Looking At? And I want to title that because today I'm talking about temptation. Guys, I'm talking about sexual temptation. And as Christians or even non-believers, we have struggles to keep ourselves sexually pure. Either it's waiting for marriage or in the context of a relationship, or it's out of a relationship and not being promiscuous or not succumbing to having pornography addiction. And it's something that has become so normalized in our culture today. In Kingdom Culture TV, we're here to shift culture by advancing kingdom culture, not perpetuate the world's culture. And as someone who has struggled with pornography use and promiscuity in my past and even in my present now, I'm noticing that what it is that becomes a downfall in this fight. Because let me know, how many of you guys know that victory in overcoming our flesh is one of the major keys to walking in true victory. And this area is so impacted by our eyes. Eyes are the gateway. The Lord's showing me that as we are in battle, we have to protect the kingdom. Think of the kingdom being protected by city gates and we on the front lines of those gates. And those gates into the kingdom, into our heart, are our eyes. And a lot of the times we fall victim to temptation by what we're looking at. The biggest example and one of my favorite examples of this is David. David slayed Goliath. David united the kingdoms of Israel, but ultimately David fell into sexual temptation and ultimately impacted his legacy and his family by what he was looking at. He was looking at Bathsheba, so he fell into temptation. And a lot of us don't realize that a lot of the confusion, a lot of the struggling that we're doing with our temptation with our body and the fight that we're doing is because we're not realizing that we have to guard our eyes. We have to be careful of what we let into what we're seeing, whether that's our social media feed, whether that's what we do in our pastime. A lot of us, let me show you something. A lot of us think that when we want to overcome something, we have to just remove it. When really what we have to do is replace it. Our mind is habitual and we are habitual creatures. So instead of removing, let's say, looking at images of women or men that you shouldn't be looking at, let's remove it and replace it by looking at and reading and studying the Word of God. And what that does is that when we feel triggered, we have something to go to. And without, it may sound cliche, but it's just read the Word of God. But really what it is, it's a gird. It's something that builds us up when we feel tempted. Because if we don't replace our bad habits with new ones, we fall victim to the cycle of falling and getting back up, the cycle of falling and getting back up. But if we stay sturdy in the Word of God and know what it says about sin, we get to have the victory. So I want to leave you guys off with this one thought. And the Lord showed me that when it comes to our eyes, Jesus, when he healed people who were blind in their eyes, what did he do? He placed his hand upon their eyes. So right now, I just pray that the hand of Jesus would rest upon your eyes and that your eyes would see new things. That if you're struggling with pornography issues, you're struggling with lust, if you're struggling with overcoming temptation, or if you're struggling with doubting, struggling with comparison, if you're looking at another person's situation or you're looking at your situation and you're feeling down, you feel discouraged, I want to pray that the hand of God would rest upon your eyes and that you would see all that he has for you, that you would see his will instead of your discouragement, that you would see his will instead of your temptation, that you would see his will instead of your fleshly desires, because he desires us to be whole. And no matter what the world says, a life that is a life that is divided and a life that is full of sexual sin cannot be a life that glorifies God and lives and walks in victory. A man or a woman who walks in victory must know that the fight for our bodies and the fight for our minds comes through our eyes. So I love you guys, and I really pray that you take in this message and you start to look at ways of how you can replace what you see now with what the Father sees for you. Love you guys. Peace.